So I want to ask you something. Have you ever been sitting there, completely minding your own business, and suddenly you can smell something burning? And you're checking the kettle, you're checking the oven, you're looking around the room, around the house even. You've even gone into the garden, right? Because you're thinking, I can definitely smell burning, but there's nothing burning. And you just think, hold on a minute, what's going on? Like, why can I smell burning? Well, if you start to think you're going mad, you're not, right? So that's the first thing. But if this has been happening to you, I really want you to hear this because nobody warned me about this. And from my last video on here, I had quite a lot of feedback actually that people were talking about similar situations and experiences. So what we're talking about has an actual medical name, okay? It's called phantosmia or phantosmia, which is just a fancy word for smelling something that has no physical source. And the most common ones women describe during perimenopause are burning, smoke, something metallic, or sometimes something almost sweet, like a chemical sweetness. For a long time I thought this was just something a bit random, something happening to me, and I thought it was just me. I thought I was losing the plot. But until I started really looking into it, and if I'm honest, what I found was both really fascinating and really reassuring at the same time. So now, before I get into this science, what I want you to understand is that, in plain language basically, that I want you to know that this is one of those perimenopause symptoms, highly likely anyway, that almost never gets mentioned at the doctors. Again, I never got explained this when I was going back and forth to the doctors, etc. And it means that so many women are sitting there, like myself, going through this, Googling things like, why can I smell burning? And getting sent down to all sorts of rabbit holes that, you're just questioning everything. So let's just be clear and let's properly clear this up, shall we? So here's what's going on. So the main driver of the phantom smell during perimenopause is the oestrogen. That's the hormone that is basically depleting or changing in its levels. Now, as I say, oestrogen, it does so much more for us than we realise. It doesn't just regulate your cycle in terms of your period. It actually supports how your brain functions. And one of those things it does is to help maintain the blood flow and oxygen levels to different parts of the brain. And at the part of the brain where we care about today is the olfactory system, which is your sense of smell. And that's your sense of smell where it's like when you smell something, it's almost like a bulb that sits right there in front of your brain. And it's where it's very sensitive, and it's more sensitive than ever when it comes to the oestrogen, the actual hormone that changes when you go through the perimenopausal stage. So it starts to fluctuate, which basically means it happens during the perimenopausal stage. And the oxygen getting to that part of the brain can become more inconsistent. And that's why you start to have these phantom smells. And what I also want you to understand is when the brain isn't getting quite the right levels of oxygen to that area, it doesn't just switch off, it kind of fills in the gaps, as it were, because it's trying to bridge the gap or fill in the bit that's missing, that's dropped or lowered, which is the oestrogen. It reaches into this memory bank of smells and it starts to generate signals, which is why what you smell tends to be something your brain already knows and recognizes. Like you're used to smelling something burning, whether that's a bonfire, whether that's from a wood burning stove or something burning in the oven, right? So you're used to those sort of burning sensations or smells. But the confusing part also is it feels so real. You really do think something is burning in the area or the room that you're in. And it is very real to you at the moment that you're experiencing it. But I want you to hear that this is your hormones communicating to you. It's not your mind failing you. Now, what I also want to say is this, because I want you to be honest with you, okay, not to scare you. In most cases, phantom smells during perimenopause are completely benign. They come and go. They usually are brief and they settle down as your hormones find the new normal, whatever that is to you. However, if you are experiencing phantom smells that are constant, as in they are every single day, all day, or they're accompanied by headaches, visual disturbances, or any other neurological symptoms, please go and speak to your GP or medical professional. Because while your hormones are the most common cause in our age group, phantom smells can occasionally be connected to things like migraines, sinus conditions, or in rare cases, things your doctor will want to check. So it can be no big deal in most cases, but just go and get it checked if it does happen regularly and it's becoming more consistent and persistent. It's happening more or less daily and for long, if not all day, long periods of time. Because only you know your body, and if something feels off, and it usually is and it's usually the perimenopause cycle or the chaos of it, then you need to trust your instinct either way. Okay. Now, if you've landed on this video and you're still at the stage of going through the changes and trying to figure out what's going on with you, or maybe you're at the beginning stage, what I want you to understand is I have a free resource for you. It's called the Midlife Energy Audit, okay? And it walks you through some of the most common signs that your body is shifting in a really gentle, no overwhelming way. I'll pop the link in this description of this video, and it'll also be in the description to my channel as well. As I say, it's completely free. It's a digital download for you. All you got to do is pop some basic details in, and then you will get this digital document that I put together, because I felt it was really useful for me when I was trying to get my head around what was going on from starting perimenopause in my 30s and then going into menopause in my early 40s, and basically being given HRT since I was 42 and I'm now 46. So this is why I feel it's so important to share information and any help and advice that we can as a community on this channel. But also this is why I created my free digital download for you, okay? So it's about your midlife energy audit. It's about sussing out what's going on with you, your brain, your body, and basically kind of like recalibrating yourself in a way where you know which way to go forward now in your life, as the new you. So let's talk about things as well, what helps. So because I don't want to just explain a problem to you and leave it there, first thing I want you to understand is when these smells and things start to happen, I would like you to track it if you can, even if it's just a little symbol or something on a diary, date or calendar, or if you use notes on your phone or something. I want you to start documenting when you start getting these phantom smells, okay? And any other symptoms for that matter, whether you've had a headache, a migraine, whether you think it might be sinus related. Okay, if it's worse in the morning, afternoon or evening, when do these happen and for how long? Is it after a bad night's sleep, for example? Because during a stressful week, sometimes your oestrogen levels can fluctuate. And when they fluctuate, they become worse. And this is when your cortisol also kicks in, which is your stress hormone, and it can be more elevated. And so you tend to notice anyway more phantom smells around those times. So you could be going through like a testing time at home or family or work or both. You might be exhausted, you might be caring for your elderly relatives or family member or friend, or you might be having your grandchildren, or whatever it is that's happening in your life right now. Basically, it can heighten these symptoms, okay? Second thing to look out for is your sleep. Like I say, I know that, it can feel like most ironic advice ever is like perimenopause, because it's already wrecking you, right? It's already affecting your sleep, and, you might be lucky to get more than 4 hours in a night, and that's probably broken anyway in stages of an hour here, half hour there, or whatever. But I understand that your sleep is probably going to become quite poor. And so this, again, like I say, it amplifies every single hormonal symptom that you go through as a woman. And the olfactory system, which is to do with your sense of smell, is particularly sensitive due to sleep deprivation. Okay, so even adding 20 minutes of proper rest can make a difference. Now, the third thing I would suggest as well, and one that surprised me, is about staying hydrated. Now, proper hydration actually supports a healthy blood flow to the brain. And given that phantom smells are partly related to oxygen levels getting to your olfactory bulb, which is in the front of the brain area. This basically supports the circulation, and it's going to help basically and lessen the phantom smells. Now, it doesn't take much to solve everything, but it's one less thing that can go working against you. And the fourth thing is simply this: to give yourself permission to not catastrophize it. So when something is strange and starts happening to your body and nobody warned you about it, the mind immediately goes into the worst place. You panic, you think, oh my God, I got this, oh my God, that. And you start, really worrying about things. So I just wanted you to know that this is one of those things where most people think you can do and just understand what it is, but understanding takes out the fear out of what you possibly thought you may have had or worries you basically, and it might help you calm down a bit more and not get so heightened with your stress levels. So to bring this all together, phantom smells during perimenopause is called phantosmia or phantosmia. It's a real recognized symptom. They happen because of oestrogen fluctuations, which affect how oxygen reaches to your olfactory system. So your brain fills the gap. It's not dangerous in most cases. It's not madness. It's not a sign that something is terribly wrong. It's your body in transition. And again, you're not broken and you're certainly not behind. You're just absolutely, going with the flow. You're just going with your menopause and you're certainly not failing. You're just responding to the body that's asking you for something different right now. Okay. And I know it's not as simple as that, but that ultimately is what's going on. Now, again, please seek medical advice. Please see your GP or medical professional if ever you're unsure. And if any of this helped you today, please do share it with others. Please give this video a like and please subscribe to this channel. And, you're welcome to Google phantom smells and see what comes up. But at least I wanted to share with you my experience of it and what's happening, because it does happen to me from time to time. And like I say, I've got a freebie there, which is a digital document you can download, which will help you go through the mind shift of the midlife situation you're going through now with the changes to your hormones, and it will help you focus and get yourself back on track with things. Okay. So that's from me. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being on watching and staying by to watch till the end of this channel, Freedom Over 40. And I shall be back again soon with some more relevant information. Take care and stay blessed.